Hi, and welcome to the Sneezing Out Loud podcast, a show with. Sorry, let's.
Sneezing full conversations.
Yeah, exactly. Let's
Let's
record again.
do it one again. I'm not going
Right.
to stop and cut.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So, hi, and welcome to the Sneezing Out Loud podcast, a show with meaningful conversations in English with non-native speakers. My name is Jędrek.
My name is Masha. Can this show be meaningful if it's sneezing out loud?
Yeah, it's sneezing because I'm coming down with something. I want to say a flu or anything, but hopefully it's not. But I caught cold, so you will have to bear my nasal vowels, and not only today. Masha, how are you doing health wise and all together?
In Ukrainian, we say fu and touch wood 3 times.
Yeah, knock on wood. Yeah, knock on wood. Yeah.
And we do this fu. You spit over your shoulder 3 times.
Yeah.
You do the same in Polish?
I'm not sure about the spitting, but I know it. Yeah, I know it. I know it definitely circulates, but yeah, not
circulates.
There is something. Yeah, I mean, it's not foreign to me. It's not foreign. When you said spitting over the shoulder, I'm totally not
surprised.
Surprised. Yeah. All right,
It's
but anyway,
because if you're worried about your health and others' health, I hope then spitting it's not something you do,
Yeah, it's almost like sneezing, at people. All right. Anyway, I'm feeling so in terms of my health, but I'm feeling great knowing that we are concluding
survived
this year.
Another year.
I mean, we have, first of all, exactly survived another year as a podcast and as podcasters. And second of all, that our podcast is doing great, I think.
How great
is
it
for, well, it depends on how you look at it, but from my perspective, having.
From your perspective, yeah.
Yeah, having a stable number of listeners per each episode, which right now circulates around 50, but it's not really that important what is the number, right? It says 51, I think, my app, but it's not, like I say, it's not that important. I don't even trust so much these stats, to be honest, because sometimes when I open the app, it says, for example, one episode has been listened or played, let's say 47 times. Then I open the app again in, I don't know, a quarter, and it says 45 times. So it's like, it subtracts 2 and then adds 2. So it's like, I think it's a ballpark figure, more or less.
We hope it's something around 40.
Yeah, we hope it's something around 40, but come on, with that little podcast, having
niche. Let's not call it little, let's call it niche.
Yeah, exactly, niche podcast, having listeners and knowing that we are not just talking, you and me, but people actually listen. It's fantastic, and to be honest, I wanted to say that this is also a podcast about nothing. Of course we are having conversations here each time. Sometimes the two of us, sometimes we have guests and so on, and I think we touch really important matters, in my opinion, concerning education, concerning life in general. But at the same time, these conversations are so general, given we are not experts, and we don't actually interview experts, that it's almost like, inviting, I don't know, friends over and having a friendly conversation, right? It's not like, we are not talking about big issues, that happen around the world, but we just, we just chat. We chew the fat.
What for? I'm sorry. We've been doing it for like what? How many years? And what's the point? Are we making any difference? Are we moving the needle? What are we even doing? Sorry, you said
No,
that.
I think I no, I'm in. We are getting some really good feedback as far
So we do
as
it. Okay. As far as
well,
what?
as far as
Learning
our
English?
language. Yeah, yeah. Linguistically, I think this podcast
Mhm.
is doing its job. Because people have uh,
Something to listen
something
to.
to listen to exactly, and that was our purpose, right?
Mhm.
And on the other side, apparently, our language is comprehensible. Our input is comprehensible. It's not like,
It's
we
the
are not Joe
second
Rogan.
punch in the last couple
Wait a
of
second.
minutes. You chew fat and your English is comprehensible, meaning it's basic.
It's basic, but wait a second. Let's dive for a second and bias free into this line when I say that these are meaningful conversations with non-native speakers. Uh, what is the point of that line? Why do we actually emphasize it's non-native? I like what you said, Masha, a few weeks ago, I think, and I would like you to. I think you
You
said it
remember
off the
something
record.
I said 2 weeks ago? Okay, interesting.
Maybe even, yeah, maybe even, maybe even before, but I hope you know what I'm driving at, because you said that, and I think you said it off the record, so I would like you to repeat this here when everybody's listening, that it's not just that we are non-natives and that we just struggle with language. But do you remember what you said?
No,
Are you
sorry.
come on. But you said that basically we have a different perception of the world.
The more languages when you learn a language, it's not only, just words. It's
Yeah,
a
exactly.
way of thinking.
Exactly. It's the way of thinking, and I think
Mhm.
we are different. We struggled, and I'm addressing now everybody, all our listeners. We were struggling with Masha for some time to kind of put our finger on why the conversations with non-natives are somehow better. I don't want to, of course, I don't want to say that we don't like inviting native speakers, even though I think we have shifted to non-natives, and this is our policy right now in this podcast. But
And that's why we're
but
struggling. We
yeah,
can't find
but
people.
but I remember having Chris here on our podcast, Chris Americas. And I remember that he was basically smashing the questions we were throwing at him, smashing them. And if you remember, it was courage and what were we talking about with Chris? Was it? I think we talked about courage. Wait a second. Yeah, I guess it was courage, but I can't remember in the context. Was it courage and recklessness or I can't remember now. But I think I'm going. Sorry, I'm going to find this. But you know what I'm driving at. I want to say that our conversation, even though it was beautiful, fluent, and Chris, of course, like I said, he was absolutely a superstar, right?
Right.
Linguistically, and not only because intellectually the same. But I think that struggling with the language a little bit somehow emphasizes the meaning.
Better.
And I don't know can you actually put your finger on what's happening with our conversations with non-natives, and why are they somehow
Well, you have to be more
better?
resourceful to put your meaning across. Uh, well, I can't say that all, conversations with non-native speakers are
Mhm.
better than all conversations with native speakers, but the tendency is, yes, that
No, sorry, Masha, it was enemy and competitor with Chris. Yeah.
mhm.
We could have actually mentioned courage. I don't know why I was thinking about courage, but yeah, talk about enemy and competitor. Yeah, and Chris was smashing it, smashing it.
But again,
Was
I
that?
had my students, non-native speakers, who also were smashing it.
Mhm. But I don't know. Are we biased? Because I have a feeling that sometimes the linguistic proficiency, uh, what to say, is
It
bad.
really depends. It really depends on the question, I would say.
It depends on the
Depends
question.
on the,
Yeah.
because some questions, yes, you just need to voice it, but you just need to say it and you need to do it. I mean, beautifully,
Hmm.
nicely.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
sometimes it really just an exploration, and it may lead you to, I don't know where.
Anyway,
And if
it
it's an
is my.
exploration, um, then actually, why wouldn't it be good with a native speaker?
There is something,
Maybe we just didn't choose the questions
maybe,
right,
maybe, but I think that the questions that we are asking about concepts, what's the
Mhm.
difference or what's the relationship between and so on, I think they are somehow uh easier for those whose command of English is great, right? And it doesn't matter how complex the issues are. I don't know. It's really interesting what is happening here, on this show and generally. But once again, I have a feeling that if someone is struggling a little bit with their language and they are facing certain questions that they feel deep inside that they are capable of answering, but it's just a matter of language, but they feel the answer, you know what I mean? That they kind of, they understand the question first of all, and then they know what they want to say, but it's just a matter of finding, the means. I think this is fantastic, and it generates really a lot of great reflections. And I think, maybe that's the point, that the thinking that is taking place then is not so fast, and and maybe
Maybe.
sometimes, yeah, it's easier to follow. I think it's easier to
Mhm.
also find some hidden gems. It's
Yeah,
really
maybe you're
interesting.
right. Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, and the fact that both of us, we are non-natives, and
Think
yet,
slowly.
yeah, we think slowly. Yes. All right, great. Anyway, big thank you for everybody who is listening to us and who has been listening to us throughout 2023. Um, Masha, what do you say? Let's take a look at, or let's maybe try and let's play a game of guessing about 2024, the year that is coming, that many people say is going to be transformative in education. But I think they say it each year, like the next year is really going to be transformative and so on. So how about guessing what's going to happen?
To education.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry if this is the last thing I'm thinking about being in Ukraine.
Ah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. I mean, I'm also the
I
last,
can't
but
say
I
I couldn't
checked.
care less. I can't say that having a 13-year-old child. Mm, what's going to happen? You mean you're going to
Yeah.
have more and more um, you're going to have more and more education outsourced to AI. Is this what you are driving at? We started
No,
this
not
year with AI. You want to finish it with AI?
Oh yeah, that would be great, right? Right. No, I'm thinking, um, first maybe I'll ask you because, of course, I have no idea whatsoever what's going to happen. I just checked some websites about the trends, and so on. But the people who write it, it's just like with everything, the same as in investing in everywhere. If someone is trying to form certain narration, and maybe it's going to, take off next year, right? But the point is that we are sort of detached from the mainstream, right? Where is the mainstream of education anyway? Are these public schools? Are they the mainstream?
Yeah.
Mhm.
For
So what's
for English, unfortunately, if you talk about Ukraine, then it's still um, children leaving school. They
Mhm.
still are not ready. I mean, they still have to, as adults, they have to go and sign up for some courses. They need additional education.
That's pretty much all over Europe, it's like this. I mean, school,
Not in
yeah, I
Norway.
mean,
In
maybe
Norway,
not,
they
yeah,
finish school
Scandinavian.
and their English is already, perfect.
You're right. You're right. We need to take a closer look what's happening in Norway, honestly, when it comes
Their
to
TV
maybe
is in
they just have.
English.
It's not about TV. Who's
Yeah,
watching
of course
TV?
it is.
I mean,
Everybody watches TV. Come on.
I mean, yeah, I remember these, arguments like, oh, but they have just subtitles. They don't have a voiceover or dubbing. Yeah, but no, I don't know.
Mhm.
I think they basically have 5 hours of English, per week or more,
In
and
our schools, they also have 5 hours of English per week.
really?
Hmm
All right.
Well,
Well, I don't know,
45-minute class. It's not 1 hour.
but it's maybe not about the number of hours. It's also about the way
Well,
of
that's
teaching
why,
and so.
in Ukraine, it's still pretty much, there are a lot of English schools that offer courses for adults. That's why when you say that mainstream education is public schools, I kind of try and separate to talk about what kind of education.
Mhm.
So we're talking about English language.
Yeah, sure. We talk about English language, but I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. It's actually the
So I
private
know it's
sector
going to
that
be
is.
more and more and more English schools next year, definitely, because, like I said, I think I've already said that in Ukraine it's now second official language of communication.
So
No,
it's
no, no, not
official.
not communication in official communication. That's somehow it's called. It means that if you are in public service, if you're an official, you absolutely must speak English, because you will use this language to communicate with, other public officials in other countries.
And is the government actually doing something to make it happen, or is it just a declaration that
It's a declaration that for some positions it will be a requirement.
it will be, or it is?
I'm
Is
sure
there
the
some kind
people
of?
will be given some time. It's not like tomorrow from the 1st of January you
All right.
must speak perfect English.
All right. Well, it sounds like the harvest time is coming for language schools in
Yeah, yeah,
Ukraine
yeah,
and so on,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because this sort of schooling. And I heard that even before 2023, I think, uh, either in one of the conferences, either in Barcelona or in France. But I heard that Ukraine is right now really a place to be when it comes to English language teaching, because there is so much happening.
And it
There are
actually has
lots of,
been for some time.
has been for some time, exactly,
Yeah.
because the drive to learning English is tremendous, tremendous. People want to learn, perhaps because they want to quit the country, or perhaps because they want to manifest, their attachment to the West. But to be honest, I think Kazakhstan is doing the same, right?
If you want to know which other places are the same like Ukraine, you need to follow Hugh Deller's itinerary, where he travels
Yeah,
throughout the year. And
yeah,
these
yeah. You're
places
right.
are,
Yeah,
yeah, big in
you're
terms of
right. But
beauty.
but I wonder if this is a sign of some kind of detachment from the Soviet empire, because now
Definitely.
yeah, the former Soviet republics are suddenly betting on English, which is also a symbol of course, the Soviets' arch enemy, right? So I think
You
I'm not.
know,
I don't want. I
Russia
don't
was
want
also
to.
big in terms of ELT, but look what good did it do. So, and it was
Well,
actually
I.
the most,
Mhm.
in ELT circles, it was one of the most shocking things for us as ELT teachers when Russian teachers of English actually also fallen victims to
Sided. Yeah, yeah,
propaganda.
yeah. Exactly. They sided with the propagandists and the official line of the authorities, Russian authorities. It's interesting, you know. It's really interesting what happened, and I wonder um, what did it do to English language in Russia. But I don't think it did much apart from maybe losing, you know, a little bit of teachers. I mean, foreigners, especially, right? Natives. But I don't even think, I don't know actually if there was any exodus of any kind or not.
I don't know. I think
Uh,
IELTS is not in Russia anymore. I mean, you cannot take
mhm,
this exam. Maybe
mhm.
Cambridge exams as well.
Yeah, but I bet there are some, you know, ways to
Yeah,
bypass this. You know, you can
yeah,
pass it
sure.
online, sign up for an exam online, which is held in Dublin or something, you know. All right, but this is all very interesting. And if someone is actually in need of some really interesting data about the trends in English language learning, they should look east, right? To Ukraine, to Kazakhstan, places like that. Poland maybe, but Poland is also big on learning. There's a huge drive, you know, and of course I observed that having mostly Polish students, right?
Hmm.
That the need to speak English is huge. Not really well oriented in the younger generations. I think they are fantastic, you know. It's pretty much the same probably in Ukraine, right? I mean, the youngsters now with YouTube, with you know a constant access to the English language, I know 24/7, you know, on their mobile devices and so on. It's quite interesting, you know. But I know, Masha, if I was mentioning to you this uh, finding by some scientists here in France about learning from YouTube, learning foreign languages, because you know there's actually a big debate right now in France about the use of
Social media
electronic devices,
and
social media, but generally screens. It's you know under this you know huge label of screens,
mm-hmm.
and it basically countries like France, but France I think is joining the party quite late because I think there were some regulations earlier in Sweden, in other countries
Mm-hmm.
that actually limit access to the screens. Right, China I think is leading the this movement. Paradoxically, I don't know if it is a paradox or not. You know, China can actually you know order something and they have to do it, but as far as I know, their Weibo or the app for everything because they have like an everything app, you know, which is a mix of you know social media, e-commerce, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So there's actually a timer, and you can only use 40 minutes per day. That's all, you know, or
Mm.
I don't know, or per week. Probably not week, but anyway,
Yeah, I can see how
uh,
it can be done in China. I can't see how it can
yeah,
be
it
done
cannot be
in
I think
France.
but of course we can talk about it, we can talk about you know the dangers of overexposure to the screens and so on, but I just wanted to say that there were some psychologists, researchers, or maybe not even researchers, but doctors basically, who diagnosed that children who spend a lot of time in front of their tablets, other devices, watching supposedly educational content, like, these colors, red, blue, white, blah, 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 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that apparently they are able to parrot these numbers, and
Without
the
understanding.
language, without understanding it or without being able to communicate. It's very interesting, It's very interesting as a finding. I wish I could learn more about it. I'll be looking at for some papers, scientific papers about that. It's quite interesting. But I'm not sure, of course, if it makes any sense to us teachers. Look at this. You've got an input, a lot of it. A lot of it, and what? And you don't learn to communicate. It's interesting. But maybe we are talking about an extreme case when the children don't actually talk to or parents don't talk to their children, but they just leave them with these devices 24/7 around the clock.
That's an extreme
I wonder.
case.
Yeah, but yeah, I cannot imagine this technology being so bad at teaching languages, that you can actually parrot, but you can't communicate. It's very, very disturbing, Anyway, I'm
So
telling you
you
this,
don't think
and
that the next year will be a year when, teachers will be paid like footballers and the classrooms will be small? No.
it is highly unlikely, I think. No website is mentioning such trend, but there is stuff like I wish I had this
And the
website, but
only criteria to become a teacher will be you have to be a good person.
that is
Not
something that we
next
are
year.
preaching, right? Yeah, but
Preach.
I wanted to talk to you, talk with you about some stuff I found on the internet, and maybe we can go through these trends together. Check it out. 2024 top 7 trends. I think it refers to the American um, continent, to America, but perhaps right now, in this globalized world, we are going to feel these trends everywhere. So first of all, there is a problem with, apparently, once again, I'm detached, I don't know, but there's a problem with teacher retention. That is, teachers are quitting a lot, and there's a problem apparently especially for young children, that there's basically less and less teachers. So, but you know where this is going, right? We need to find replacements. And how about, this e-teacher, your robot, teacher. I don't know if this is, I'm just trying to guess because, these trends, what is this website? Honestly, it's some kind of a website called standtogether.org. Never heard of it before. So I guess these trends, whatever it is, we are taking it with a pinch of salt, of course.
Maybe it's
But
robot
I think
teachers who created
someone is trying, someone is trying to, to create some kind of narration, right? That, oh, look at this, we are losing teachers, and it's going to be hard. We need some solutions, The pandemic has only aggravated the situation, prompting an urgent need for effective solutions. And I can almost smell that solution is probably a computer, or some kind of a device that is going to take care of children better than, a human teacher. It's interesting, right? Because look, we underpay the teachers. We actually force them to quit. We force them to quit, and then we find ourselves, the system finds itself in a situation like, oh, we need to find a replacement quickly. So instead of improving the working conditions and everything, well, there's tech probably going to take the place of the teachers who left, right? And once again, it's very important because websites like this one. I don't know if it's reputable or not, but anyway, it's the top result when you type top trends in education 2024, in Google. So this is what comes up, and yeah, it's interesting. There is a very nice work by, I think, a Nobel laureate about the narrative economics. So it doesn't really matter what's the real situation. Are we actually are we actually facing a shortage of copper or not? Who cares? Because you don't know, because copper is right now a financial instrument. It's not like, of course, there is physically somewhere the copper needed to produce this, produce that, but who's really able to say if we have enough copper or not enough? It's once a certain narration starts rolling, that, oh, we are lacking copper, or whatever else, then of course it has an impact on the market. And I think it's pretty much the same here. Once certain narration starts rolling, like, oh, we are lacking teachers, I'm not saying we are not, but it can be, of course, magnified by media. The media is actually, this is where narration is.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of that on Bloomberg. Thank God I stopped subscribing to it, because
Because
I
they
got almost
charged you too
brainwashed.
much.
They charge a lot, and that's why I'm not subscribing. But at the same time, I feel kind of freer right now, just watching prices, and not reading all that shady content, even though this is good
Shady
journalism.
content, he calls Bloomberg.
Yeah, Bloomberg is supposedly quality journalism, and
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of it, a lot of quality journalism, but at the same time, their newsletters, they're bombarding you with certain narration, because I cannot call it otherwise. It's a narration. You have to believe in certain things, and if there's a hot summer, they will almost immediately politicize it and try to add some kind of a spin to it, like, it's, of course, it's the hottest summer in, I know, decades, people are dying and so on. Yeah, it was a hot summer, but come on, it wasn't a tragic one.
What is the second trend?
Yeah, thank you. All right, so yeah, the second trend. All right, good. That is Gattuso, I think. What is his name? Gennaro Gattuso, I think, former Italian football player, at a press conference, talking about his players. Okay, and football in general. I'm trying to find, Masha, first, where is that website, because it has drowned in tons of other websites. Where is it? Here. So the next one is, yeah, it's kind of similar to the first one, tackling teacher burnout. What do they say? Let me just,
The answer to teacher burnout is AI, of course.
Of
Which will
course.
write your lesson
I mean,
plans.
it comes almost without saying, right?
Yeah.
Because teachers are burned out. Why are they burned out?
Because
I
they're
mean, they're
overworked.
overworked and underpaid.
Okay,
Yeah.
next trend.
Online learning and artificial intelligence. The demand, listen, the demand for online education is growing at an unprecedented pace. They stated, as technology advances, more innovative. How do you pronounce that? Innovative. Yeah, whatever. Engaging and effective online teaching methods are being developed. With the flexibility and accessibility it offers, online education is set to become a significant trend in education in 2024. So, artificial intelligence is set to revolutionize teaching, Masha. AI
Yes.
can provide customized learning paths for students, taking into account their individual learning styles.
Whatever that
pace, whatever
is.
that is. Yes. And progress. It can also automate administrative tasks. So that means cut the costs, freeing up teachers' time for more meaningful interactions with students.
Do you take into account your learners' learning styles when you craft your classes?
No, I don't think so.
How?
I must tell you, that I don't believe in these learning styles. But are we talking about these visual, audible, and so on?
Probably.
But this is bullshit.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
think it
It's
has
already
been
been.
debunked.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I think at least 100 times.
Yeah,
In
but then there is differentiation.
like what?
Like tailoring your classes to different, I don't know, even abilities.
You know me a little bit, and you know that my approach is really despotic, dictatorial. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, as teachers, I think we should be teaching in the first place and care little about students' needs.
No, I think you
Listen
want
to
to
me.
say
Listen.
students' wants, not students'
Yeah,
needs.
yeah. You're right. Sorry, but thanks for correcting me. Of course. But I was even checking. I mean, checking. I was listening to mm, Teachers Talking Time podcast.
Yeah,
Uh,
needs analysis. You already.
Needs analysis.
But
Yeah.
be careful here.
Uh,
You may be cancelled soon if somebody hears
no, I mean the way I see
this
education and the
guy
challenges.
doesn't care about his. I already see this headline. This guy doesn't care about his students' needs.
It's not no, but I'm much more into what William Deresiewicz, I guess was his surname, a former Yale professor, is saying that you care about your students, and that's why you don't give them what they want, right? Here and now. So you don't prepare them for the career, or I mean, not in a way like the skills they will need on the very first day when they start their job, but you have to see kind of further, or yeah, you need to see the big picture as a teacher. And I think, what is the big picture in education? Well, it's exactly, in my opinion, about producing, sorry if it sounds very instrumental, but it's about producing mm, high quality uh, high quality cultural capital. Wow, it sounds horrible, I know, but
Resource.
resource, yeah, they have to be well crafted. No, but of course, independent thinkers, and all. I mean, we could be talking about it a lot, but there's nothing more important in education than producing, or sorry, or maybe educating whole men. Not just tools for certain tasks. We have to quit it as teachers, no matter what subject we are teaching. Whether it's biology, chemistry, or English. And I think that's why we have to sort of know better as teachers. But this is all, we don't have to actually say it out loud, especially on a podcast where everything is recorded. But you know what I mean? It's we have certain tasks, certain obligations that we owe, not to the market, but to humanity as such. We very often forget about it as teachers, that we have certain tasks. And yeah, there's and if once you forget about it, you enter into this really, really crazy race of competences, and so on and so forth. We should really focus on um Oh my God, it's hard for me even to verbalize, that it's
Oh,
we should
good
focus
life.
on good life. Yeah, good. But this is a mental shortcut, but it's fantastic. It's beautiful. Yes, and educating. You know what is actually interesting? That in the French language, education means upbringing. In fact, remember our conversation on that here on the show. In French, éducation is upbringing. This is what your parents are doing. They educate you. And education in the English sense, or even in the Polish sense, I don't know about your, is enseignement. It's like teaching, you know? So there's education and teaching in French. Beautiful. I think it's really telling, And of course, later it got mixed up, in the English language, we talk about the education system, which would, in fact, from the French perspective, be the system of upbringing, which it is not. Because if we talk about upbringing, we have to talk about values, we have to talk about certain things that are not really about knowledge, but about, other things. And I think that school is not really fulfilling this function right now. Partially, very, scantily, like I know we used to have in Poland, one teacher who was somehow he was called wychowawca, which means that, it was a teacher who was responsible for a certain class,
That's what
and
we called, daycare. In English, it's the word teacher. You would still call them teachers, daycare teachers. In Ukrainian, we use a different word. We use vychovatel, not
yeah, exactly, yeah. So exactly, it
daycare.
sounds pretty much,
But
yeah,
when they go to
but
school, they start having teachers.
teachers, all right, but there is one that is kind of leading a certain class, or is who's responsible for a
Yeah,
certain
it's
class.
like yeah, but it's not called vychovatel. It's called class
Okay.
teacher.
Yeah, but anyway,
Class
in
teacher. Yeah,
Poland, I think
direct
up
translation.
to university, we've got that, function of wychowawca. But again, it's just, purely administrative function, It has nothing to do with with I know being I mean living up to the name of that function, So yeah, basically, but school is not doing it, and it's interesting, But in the French language, once again, éducation, it's upbringing. This is, this job that parents, or maybe, family in general, or relatives are doing. All right. I sort of, yeah, but anyway, Masha, this trend number 3 was online learning and artificial intelligence. Everything is going nicely. Are you interested in trend number 4 in 2024? All right. The shift towards non-traditional education models. How do you interpret that? Well, something like micro schools, small-scale educational establishments offering personalized learning experiences are gaining popularity. So, what do you think about that? And what is the hidden agenda here?
How does it fit? I mean, it means that education will become more expensive, but AI will make it more affordable.
Yeah. So there you are,
How
micro
do you
school managed.
marry these two? Micro schools
I mean,
where teachers will be, most of the teaching will be done. Oh, yeah, actually, yeah, I saw a vacancy. It was sent to me by this website where they
I'm
advertise
sorry, guys. I'm
vacancies.
cleaning my nose all the time. It looks awful. If you are watching on YouTube, sorry for
So
that.
don't
But
watch this episode on YouTube.
yeah, don't
Listen to
watch
it
it on YouTube.
rather.
Listen to it on
Yeah.
podcast platforms, whatever.
And the vacancy was they were looking for a teacher who would be like a how to put it. As far as I understood, the most teaching is done by AI, and you just have to supervise it, make sure that everything is according to some plan, and you
Mm-hmm.
make sure that each student, you have to have personal communication, one-to-one communication with each student to make sure they are,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, not behind the plan with their studies or something like that, and then that everything is all right. So you just check in on them, check in on them, check in on them. But the teaching is done by AI, and they're looking for this person, human, who will be humanizing it a little bit, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very
So that's
interesting,
what
but it's
that's the future of
reminds me a little
education.
bit of training sales representatives, So you have to, as a sales rep, you have to sell certain amount of goods, right? And in order to boost the self-confidence of that sales rep, there's another coach, or a manager of sales reps, and he's boosting, right before they go and what's the name for it? Do the pitch, or I don't know what is
Yeah, sales
whatever.
pitch.
Yeah, they just send them there like motivated soldiers. I think this is what this model is about, right? That the teacher or whoever, whatever we call that person, it's like a motivator. Hey, you are missing the whatever, some objectives. You have to go out there and do your best.
No, I saw it in a different light. I saw this as
All right,
and
I
I
got
think
carried away.
this person will be actually very, very busy, because it will be very, very
Hmm.
popular. It's like, you're phoning an organization and you would like your problem to be solved, and you keep getting this AI, and you keep pushing these buttons to get through to a human being because AI cannot do it. So the same will be, everybody will want to speak to a real person because
Hmm.
they will be scarce.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anyway, I hope this is not what these micro schools are going to be about. However, the concept itself or the name, like a micro school, sounds nice, But I'm
But
smelling
what if,
some rat here.
all, because a lot of teaching, when we talked about it, the mechanical stuff, it can be definitely outsourced to AI, and the rest, you will be doing in small groups with humans. That's kind of nice idea, no?
Yeah, they say that dissatisfaction with traditional schooling models grows, and the rise of micro schools represents a significant trend in education for 2024. So it's like an answer to the ailing traditional education systems, And then, but I
So
think
you
this
mean
is
human
actually what.
teachers will work less because most of the teaching will be done by AI, but this is the answer to burnout?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, I need to play, because I think this is the right moment for again, for this thing.
Nothing's happening.
Because you couldn't hear it.
No,
Why is that? Ah,
no
yeah,
clue.
it's maybe because I'm not. So you haven't heard it the first time.
No.
Oh, come on! And I was laughing. I made a fool out of myself. All right. Anyway, when you think about these trends, of when you think about micro schooling, I think it could be there are two possible outcomes.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Yeah,
Okay, now we heard this.
yeah, because and this is Gennaro Gattuso. Sorry, I was talking about earlier, but I forgot to switch on, the sound sharing. But what I wanted to say is that micro schooling sounds great in theory, but I wonder where this is going to go, because if micro schooling means that there are students dissatisfied with the public model or the mainstream, so they go to these micro schools, but still they have to do it outside their mandatory school time, right? So it's
Probably.
pretty much like private tutoring, something like this. But I like the idea because micro schooling is a chance for teachers to get better salary, right? And at the same time, better working conditions, working with less students, having
You are
more.
a micro school.
I
So
am a
people
micro school.
learn
Yes,
they have
kind of.
words and phrases and grammar somewhere, and then they come to
Except
you.
Masha,
And
except I'm not a school in the
well,
sense
I
that, you
mean,
know,
the idea, yeah, they do whatever everything they can do on their own, they do on their own, and then they come to you for things they cannot do on their own.
yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. But so this idea, it could be a remedy, but I think, you know, it may actually go like, you know, sometimes may be good, sometimes maybe, you know, the other thing, because I think it may also be used as a way to once again drive teachers out of the system. You know, this old system, state schools are dying, and let's go to the new ones. You know, more efficient ones. I think there is, you know, if together with that switch to micro schools, you know, there is a different perception about education. That's great. But if there is not, if there's the same, but we want basically the same but more efficiently, done more efficiently, I think it's a trap. You know, this is going to be like, you know, um, whatever.
Okay, it's because you have a first day of your cold. Trend number 5.
Yeah, trend number 5. Let's go there. Let's see what is trend number 5. Yeah, I think you could have guessed it, you know, because it's the push for equity in education. There
Okay.
has to be something like this. Let's read, you know, what do they mean by that, you know? Our research indicates that impending teacher departures could disproportionately affect low-income families and students of color. To counteract this, interventions need to be targeted towards retaining teachers in high poverty districts. And this is actually something, you know, and those working with younger and older students. And basically, what investments in support staff, such as full time nurses, counselors, and special education co teachers, can help create a more equitable learning environment, particularly in law. Yeah, that is a huge challenge, I think, you know, because I see I don't know what is your perspective, but I see the world really um, um, getting more and more polarized with, you know, this, you know, famous rich getting richer and poor getting poorer. And I feel like it's going to be harder and harder to cross that divide, you know, to get out from poverty and, you know, join the whatever, you know, the not even the rich ones, but, you know, uh, basically change your fate, you know, because I believe education is the key for sure. But I feel like no one is really going to uh, no one is going to even want to work in dangerous districts and so on. I heard something about it in Paris, you know. Paris is one of such places, you know, where especially the outskirts, you know, it's not really nice for teachers to work. You know, once again, we are back to, you know, being underpaid, of course, and risking your life. I'm not going even to mention that there were a couple of really horrible crimes committed against teachers this year. Another one a few years ago, there was, you know, this atrocious act of decapitation, you know, and teachers are actually being targeted. So this job is becoming more and more risky. And at the same time, I think there's not much satisfaction coming from, you know, working with well, I don't want to say like, you know, low income children from low income families, but that is the case, you know. Very often they are quite savage, you know, sauvage.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know. Actually, is that actually our problem? I mean, in our part of the world.
Definitely.
Do you also see the you know the disproportions about, you know, the poor and the rich, those who can afford quality education, those who can't?
Definitely. Yes. In Ukraine. Yes.
Yeah, I think I heard something recently about, you know, the what was it about? once again that there are children who already lost a lot during COVID.
Yeah.
It was about the PISA exam scores or something like that. There's this measurement of education. PISA, I think it's like the town in Italy. I don't know actually where does it come from.
Okay, and
yeah, but anyway, and yeah, the findings were that actually there's a huge um I don't know how do you say not collapse,
decline.
Something decline. No. I mean, yeah, decline. All right. You see, that is that is a non-native searching for words. Sorry, and struggling with that cold. But there's a huge decline observed across the board. In each and every country. Some of them more drastically, some of them less, but still. And that is the researchers say the result of COVID, remote learning, and the scores in mathematics. Basically all subjects that they measure came down this year. And there is an alarming situation apparently, in certain cases, because this time that has been lost is not really going to be made up for. It will be very hard. I mean, kids basically lost 2 years, or I know in some cases 2 years, I don't know, in some cases less maybe, of education. No matter what you say about the state or mainstream education, it's still good, compared to mainstream education online.
Yeah, in Ukraine, it's you add the war here, of course, the first
Yeah,
year.
and you
was
add the war,
definitely-
exactly. And I heard about also Ukrainian children studying in Polish schools. They were also kind of let loose, so to say. I don't know why there was not a huge mobilization of Ukrainian teachers, who after all came in large numbers.
Yes.
But they somehow weren't employed by the schools just to run classes for Ukrainian children. But I don't know exactly what's the situation. I haven't been following it closely, but I think it's knowing a little bit my country, it's like, okay, jakoś to będzie,
Jakoś буде.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So I think this might be the case. And however silly it sounds, because today with all these calculators, chat GPTs, everybody's a mastermind, right? You don't need education because you can look it up in your fantastic smartphone. But it's not so easy. There's going to be a generation of people who are gullible, naive, who believe everything they see on screen. That is quite
but
interesting.
then we already have this generation,
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? I'll tell you what. I was thinking
they
about.
were educated in schools, where they only had pens and paper.
Yeah.
So,
but you know what? I was thinking about something, because I heard recently again some appeal to introduce, or actually, again, some criticism of schools, like the schools, they don't teach, this and that and that, and there should be something. Teaching a separate subject. This is always, the remedy, a silver bullet, a separate subject for something, like, there are a lot of unwanted teenage pregnancies. Well, let's introduce sexual education. Yeah, there is, another problem. Well, let's introduce, there was a Ponzi scheme. People lost a lot of money. Well, let's introduce, the basic economics or finance, how to manage this, because people learn about photosynthesis, but they don't know how to manage their wallet, their budget, But anyway, and there was another idea to teach children, I don't know, teenagers, to about fake news, about how not to fall for the fake news. But I was thinking
it's
for
like,
a second,
something along the lines, please prepare me for an interview in English. I have to do an interview. Okay, I can, we can memorize questions and certain answers, but what if, there's one step right, one step left, and so let's teach them how to differentiate. Fake, not fake.
No,
But
how to recognize fake news, and I was I was thinking, okay, it makes sense at first, right? Yeah, yeah. This is. I mean,
Yeah,
wait for it. Wait, but at first, it sounds like, oh yeah, this is a big threat right now. It can even
yeah.
derail, the election results or something. But then I was like, you know what? Nobody has taught me, not even an hour, of how to distinguish fake news from real news. And somehow, I'm not saying I'm not falling victim of fake news, but I'm suspicious. I'm suspicious of everything naturally, and it's not just that I see the news and but I've got some knowledge, okay, and I've got some healthy dose of skepticism, maybe
And
even
you
too
had
much.
good life.
But and yeah, I mean, you don't have to be uh, really trained for this particular purpose, to recognize fake news,
And can
to
you
be
really
able to
be
see through.
trained in 1 hour a week?
Yeah,
I'm sure it's going to be like 10 bullet points. Look for these
yeah,
red flags. Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my
And then at the end of the day, someone's going to design, an 11th point, that
Mhm.
will actually, yeah, exactly, But I think, um, once again, if education was really doing its job,
Yeah,
and
then you
and
wouldn't need these subjects, of
you
course.
wouldn't need these subjects, like how not to fall victim of a Ponzi scheme, people trusting that there is a yield of, I know, 10 or 15% per year. Come on, I mean, if the bank deposit is 4%, or less. Anyway,
I'm afraid we don't have time for other 5 trends.
oh, Masha, what is okay? We have to wrap up.
Yeah.
We have to wrap up the whole year. You want me to do that in 1 minute? All right. So for the rest of the trends, I guess you can go and look for it on Google. It's not that interesting, We know better, Masha.
Okay.
Yeah, we know better. So and we have to finish now.
Well, it would be nice to start saying thank yous
Yeah,
and
to start saying exactly. All right. So yeah, it's a pity because number 6 was the future of education leadership, and I wonder, maybe we could also say something interesting here. Are you
we can
a
start.
leader
We
in
can
education?
start at the next year with
Yeah,
the
yeah, exactly.
remaining, 5 trends.
Yeah. All right, great. No, there's only 2 trends remaining anyway.
Mhm.
But I wanted to say thanks to everybody and for bearing with us. We take a little break right now because we are coming back probably, if everything goes right, uh, in the second week of 2024, of January 2024, because the first week, well, we take a break.
Yeah, we take
Why?
a
Why
break.
shouldn't we? I mean, yeah. Come on. All right. So,
Everybody's doing it. Why can't we? What was the name of first album of Cranberries?
oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Eh,
So
And sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
That is a non-native, and it's beautiful, It's better than any native speaker could ever do it, That's a coach. All right. Fine. And I think this is great. This summarizes, what is ahead of us, and this summarizes everything, And once again, thank you for listening to our podcast. We are not stopping. So
no,
expect more of this
chewing
content.
fat.
Yeah, of chewing the fat in the future in 2024. And perhaps we are going also to change something in this podcast, but if we do, it's going to be a gradual evolution, not a revolution, I guess.
Hopefully.
All right. Fine. Masha, I want to say a big thank you to you personally, and I want to do it publicly because well, without you, we couldn't record this podcast.
Oh my God, it would be a podcast of one person. Come
Yeah,
on.
I mean, who?
But who would stop? It would be, the episodes would be like 5 hours long without
Yeah,
me,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Me talking and
without
talking, ranting,
police.
whining. Yes, and so on. Thanks, Masha, for being here, and thanks for everything. I wish you Merry Christmas. Sorry, Christmas actually are way behind. We are recording this before. But I wish you a fantastic new year, 2024, with a lot of harvesting,
Whatever that means, many
Yeah, whatever
harvests.
that means. Yeah, all right. Teachers harvest, Right. Thanks so much. Don't forget about our website. It's tolpodcast.com. Don't forget about leaving us a voicemail. We haven't collected a lot of these
At least
files
as a New
over.
Year gift or something,
Yeah,
we're so
exactly.
desperate.
Or maybe you have some ideas about how to improve this show. Come on,
Yes,
share it with
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Share it with us. Leave us a voicemail or send us
Maybe
an
you
email.
noticed a pronunciation mistake, or something.
Yeah,
Grammar
whatever.
mistake.
Yeah. And you can
That's
also
it.
buy us coffee. We can support us financially. The links are in the description of this beautiful episode. So we leave you now to prepare your champagne and
Caviar.
caviar and everything for the New Year's Eve party. Don't drink too much because the 1st of January is going to be painful.
Catch up with you.
All right. Thank you, Masha.
So that's it. Thank you. And thanks everyone for this year and for the previous year and for the previous December. And this was the last episode in 2023. And another episode of the Thinking Out Loud podcast. Stay tuned for the next one. See you next year and hear you
Bye.
next year.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.